Hey everyone, how's it going? Just beat Syndicate, about to give my review here, and this time I actually wrote some stuff down. Uh, so basically, I'm just going to be going over the positives and negatives about what I felt, and yeah. So I played Syndicate on the PC, just FYI, if you're wondering. All right, so this is more or less a PC review of the game, but it's. I'm just going to be speaking in general. I played the demo for the console versions as well. So, anyway, let's start with the positive stuff of the game. The first thing I want to talk about is the story. The story is a lot of fun. Isn't like an excellent, story that with just that keeps you pumped, and just makes you want to play. It is a fun story, though. I will say. What it basically is you play as an agent working for this corporation called Eurocorp, and basically it takes place in the future. I believe 2069 is the year, and you work for this corporation called Eurocorp, and basically it's a time where corporations basically have battles and are basically controlling more or less the whole economy. And what's going on is that these corporations have wars going on between each other. So what they do is they deploy what they call agents, and these agents for corporations basically go over to another corporation, mess things up, kill a couple people, maybe just spy to see what they're doing. If they're trying to basically rise above them, or if they're just trying to copy their work, get more sales or something like that. So you actually work for Eurocorp, one of these corporations, and you get sent over to another corporation because you believe they're developing some technology that's similar to yours at the moment right now. So you go over to this corporation, you kill a couple people, and then you find out that okay, someone inside was kind of feeding the information to them. So that basically adds a little twist to the game. Everyone's like, you basically got to find out who's really behind this and who's really trying to bring your corporation down. So it's pretty interesting and definitely pretty fun. I actually enjoyed the story a lot, much more than I thought I did. But it's definitely something that is pretty cool and entertaining. All right, next thing I want to talk about is the voice acting. Definitely, the game has great voice acting. They actually used a couple actors, I believe Rosario Dawson, and then some other guy, I can't remember his name. But they got some pretty cool actors in here doing the voice acting. In addition, they are doing actually motion capture for basically all the movements, and it looks really good. It looks definitely like it was a high quality moment, high quality cinematic experience with the game, and the voice acting and the excellent motion capture definitely help kind of bring the story to life and kind of tell the story in a more cinematic way. All right, next up, soundtrack. This game has great soundtrack. Honestly, like this has had to be one of my most favorite soundtracks in any game. It's a cross between kind of trance, techno, and dubstep. More dubstep, more or less, but it's just really fun. When a battle heats up, it'll start playing this really cool song, and then it really gets you pumped. Um, so definitely, it has a great soundtrack, and that's probably one of the things I enjoyed the most about this game was the soundtrack. It was pretty entertaining. Definitely got you pumped up for the battles, and if you're into dubstep and all of that, you're definitely gonna have a fun time with this game and its soundtrack. All right. Next, the graphical style. Very unique graphical style. It takes place in 2069, so it has that futuristic feel, but it's more of that kind of glossy, glary, futuristic, graphical style. Basically, when there's light shining in, it's pretty unique, but it really does have that just sort of glare and things that are a really bright graphical style, which is pretty cool. It's definitely pretty cool. But yeah, the graphical style was another one of my favorite things. I enjoyed it, and it definitely set itself apart from other games who just do the modern warfare kind of style of games. This definitely has a lot of bright areas, but at the same time, a lot of dark areas as well. So it's a lot of black and white contrast as far as graphical style goes. So there's that. Next is the weapons. A huge variety in weapons. What I really liked was how certain weapons had certain abilities, and that every weapon has a secondary fire mode. The assault rifle can turn into a bolt-action rifle. There's another assault rifle that has a grenade launcher on it. Um, there's pistols that do, some bursts, and there's some guns that actually lock onto certain targets, so all the bullets and stuff follow them, which is pretty cool. And then you got some laser beams and stuff like that. There's flamethrowers. There's a lot of cool weapons in this game. So definitely, weapon system pretty enjoyable and pretty interesting as well. And it's fun to test them out and see how each one reacts to certain enemies. And the multiple firing modes actually does help, because certain enemies will be easier to take down if you take them down with a sniper rifle or bolt action rifle. For instance, when I had the assault rifle, I was trying to take down all these enemies, and they were taking like lots of bullets. So I switched to the bolt-action rifle, and the second firing mode, where it's basically just one shot, and I was able to take them down much quicker. So definitely, multiple firing modes actually help and make a difference in combat. So that's pretty cool. Next thing, the upgrade system. Now this is pretty cool. This game has a lot of boss fights, first of all, so lots of boss fights there. So it's pretty enjoyable. At the end of every boss fight, what's really cool is that they have chips, right? Every person basically has a chip in their brain. So at the end of every boss fight, you basically stick this tool like in their ear, in their eye, for instance, and this weird tentacle thing comes out, and it's sort of like the Matrix, where in the beginning of the Matrix, where they had that chip like inside his stomach, and they basically stuck that thing in there, and it was that bug, that little weird parasite thing. It's kind of like that, but imagine it's not as huge, that tool, but it has a little small chip. It's a little small chip like in their brain. So this thing basically comes, grabs the chip, and then sticks it out. So basically, once you get their chip, you can upgrade a certain part of your abilities, and those abilities affect combat. Health, for instance. You can have more defense, you can make yourself quicker, more agile, have a better hacking system, or faster regeneration for your abilities. So a cool upgrade system, definitely. I like that a lot. And it does give some incentive to it does actually give a purpose to the boss fights. They're not just random people, they're actually, people who you're going to want to fight, so you can get their chip and upgrade your stuff. So definitely cool. Next, the Dart chip. Now what you have is a Dart 6, they call it, the Dart 6 chip, and that's basically the little, chip thing that's inside your head that can basically tell you, or it's more or less a controlling / hacking system. So you can hack a turret, for instance, that's shooting you, and you can hack it like instantly, and so it attacks everyone else except you. And that's pretty cool in combat as well. They have other abilities, like you can basically hack someone else's chip so that they commit suicide and blow up everyone else around you. Or you can persuade them to help you in combat so that they fight on your side, and then afterwards they commit suicide themselves. Or there's a backfire one, where you can destroy like a person's gun, for instance, and make them vulnerable to basically out in the open, so you can shoot them and take them out that way. And that's helpful for taking out a person with the riot shield. So basically you can backfire the weapon, they can fall on the ground, and you can shoot them while they're down. So that's pretty cool. Dart 6 chips, definitely, amazing. Like I mentioned, instant hacking. That's always fun. So, I mean, it really is instant. It takes probably less than a second, but it really is instant. They really do a good job at it's just, it's fast. It definitely helps. Like I said, you can hack turrets and have them fight on your side, which definitely is pretty cool. Alright. A variety of locales. You actually do fight in different places, and these places actually do have they have different graphical styles. You know, I mean, there's probably 5 different locations I can count in the game. So, but you're gonna be fighting in buildings. You're gonna be fighting like out in the slums, cities. Uh, you know, broken area like broken areas, sewers, for instance. You're gonna be fighting on top of like a train, and it's pretty cool. Definitely, lots of variety in terms of locales and where you're fighting, which is always cool. They kind of mix it up that way. Um, Next up is the ending. Now it's not a very climactic ending, and that's one of the negative things, that the actual ending isn't very climactic. It doesn't really, you don't feel like, wow, that was such a great experience, or oh my gosh, I'm finally here. It kind of just ends, but it actually does set it up for a sequel in a way, or at least for some downloadable content. If they're gonna have a downloadable content that actually continues the single player, that I think that would be pretty cool, because definitely the ending, it sets it up for a sequel. It just isn't climactic, unfortunately. Basically, you have a huge boss fight, and then it just kind of ends more or less. So there's that. Awesome melee attacks. That's probably my favorite thing about this game, is the melee attacks. They're incredible. They're not just knife, or just punch some guy. I mean, the guy actually takes them out. Like, he'll twist their neck. He'll like actually enter a combat sequence, and it's pretty cool because it's fast paced, and it's like, wow. In addition, like I said, the motion capture kind of comes into play there too. For instance, there's one melee attack where you're running at a guy, and he'll grab his feet, he'll pull him so that he falls on his back, and he'll kick him in the face. And the animations when the guy falls and stuff, it looks really good. So definitely the melee attacks were incredible. Probably my favorite thing about this game was the melee attacks. And many times I would just want to run into some guy just so I can see what the next melee attack was. And there is a lot of variety in terms of there. So last positive thing is twists in the story. There's about 2 or 3 twists in the game, so pretty cool. Definitely, something that's twist that you really don't kind of see coming. You're kind of surprised by. So cool twists. All right. Now the negative things. I don't have a lot to say actually. So the first thing I do want to state is that the campaign is short. I want to say it took me about 4 hours, but on average, it's gonna be taking you about 4 to 6 hours. All right, on average. It's a short campaign, unfortunately. It kind of leaves you wanting more, but that kind of I mean, if you play the game, it depends on what your take on the story is. If it's a good story, like I thought, you're gonna want it to continue, but it's just a short campaign, unfortunately. So there's like really no value in there. And I didn't find myself really having any incentive to, want to play the game again. I mean, maybe in the future, but really, I don't think I'm going to want to play the campaign again at all. So, next up is no variety in terms of gameplay. Really, you're just going to be doing hacking and shooting. That's like all you're going to be doing. And it doesn't really, there's no driving sections, there's no like really any platform sections at all. There's quick time events and stuff to get to a certain area, but that's like it. But basically, you're just gonna be shooting and killing wave after wave after wave after wave, and then boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. It's just lots of shooting, and even though this is kind of a remake of, well, I don't want to see remake, because the original Syndicate was a strategy game, I think, and I never played it, but the original Syndicate was a strategy game. This one is more just like a straight first-person shooter. So, I mean, you're really just going to be shooting in this game, and for 4 to 6 hours, it's enjoyable. So definitely, if the campaign was longer, then I would say that probably the game would have got boring. But what I think is, as long as the story's entertaining enough, you're not going to really pay attention to the gameplay. And like I said, the story was good, so I didn't really find myself getting bored shooting people at all. Just wave after wave after wave of enemies. Just keep that in mind. Next up is something I want to mention on the console versions. The console versions are limited to 30 frames per second. Now, I was able to run this game completely max at 1080p and still get 60 frames, above 60 frames per second. And that's probably why I got it on PC, because I wanted that smooth 60 frames per second gameplay. But with consoles, you're limited to 30 frames per second, and it needs to be higher. This game has a lot of fast-paced combat, and I think 30 frames just isn't enough for the game. I think if the game ran, at 60, then it definitely would have had a nice experience. But for console players, you're running at 30, so what are you going to do? Alright, and like I mentioned, not a climactic ending. Alright, so that was like it. That's really all I have to mention about Syndicate. It's a fun game. Definitely, a campaign that I think is worth playing. I don't think I'd buy it. Wait till the price goes down. This game also has co-op, but no competitive multiplayer. I haven't tried a co-op out yet, but maybe, yeah, I probably will do in the future. But yeah, that was my campaign review. So I enjoyed it, just short, and yeah. So as a score, I dropped my pen. As a score, I want to give it. You know what? I'm going to give it an 8. An 8 as a score. An 8 out of 10. Like I said, fun story, unique graphical style, but just gameplay. Not a lot of variety in gameplay, and it is short. It is a short campaign. But if you're more of a multiplayer person, I heard the co-op's actually really good, so I will actually try out the co-op and definitely upload some videos of that when I have the chance. All right, guys. So thanks for watching. And I gotta go play The Darkness 2. I have to beat that. That's my next PC game to beat. So, thanks for watching.